my question to you.
What happened?
He's just laughing. Have you done mushrooms?
I've done it, yeah.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Have you gone deep?
No, I took like this one.
I need
Like
you to come with me.
No, absolutely not. No.
I need you.
No, I'm not doing it, dude.
I want
No,
you
I
to
just,
do
you know
3
what my
grams.
thing, I like hearing your experience on it. I just have no desire, I literally don't have any
I know.
desire to do it.
Can you just do like 2 grams?
No.
Please.
My thing, I'm open to drugs, and especially Aaron Rodgers, he's such a beast.
Yeah.
He should probably double the dose in the playoffs. But I think I have no desire to do it.
Why don't you microdose it?
I just don't want it.
Seriously.
I've microdosed it and went to yoga. It was cool. It felt
Okay,
cool.
yeah.
I just don't. I have no desire. Like it's
Yeah.
not interesting to me.
Yeah.
Like
It never was to me either, because I was never.
You've gotten balls deep in
I just
it.
never was into the drug thing.
But I know Aubrey's into it.
Well,
Yeah.
I just think that psilocybin helps. Like, it's got an 80% cure rate for smoking.
Mm-hmm.
It's helped people with PTSD. It helps people at the end of their life when
CT,
they're facing
yep.
a terminal diagnosis, cancer diagnosis. So I wanted to see what was there, and I believe that there's something there.
No, I'm an advocate of it. I think it's good, especially if it helps people do it, man.
Never been
Fire
a guy.
away.
I don't like coke. I don't like booze. I don't think anything positive comes out of that stuff. I'm not a weed guy. I'm not even a psychedelic guy necessarily, but I have a great deal of respect for it because I want to see what acid's about. I want to see what that, I do not believe if you're a young person trying to make sense of your life, I don't think you need to do this. I think most of the value gained in life is through sobriety.
I think that opens up completely new lines of thinking for a lot of people.
It does. And, it's interesting.
There's a moment when you do mushrooms, like 20 minutes after you swallow it, where you know you can't throw it up anymore. You know that moment? You're like, oh no, it's gonna happen. And you imagine that moment, you're sitting crisscross applesauce, just staring eye to eye with the prince, waiting. And here's the thing about mushrooms. Mushrooms take about 40 minutes to kick in, but about 35 minutes in, you hear them coming. Right? You hear footsteps in the distance, like, and while Prince Harry's tripping balls, I'm gonna hover over and go, are you sure vaccines are safe? Bitch, you're not a scientist!
I mean, we don't have any statistics, but it is a completely confounding experience. I mean, you may have had the expectation, you might think if you had never had a psychedelic experience that it sort of begins like the Bach B minor fugue and goes from there as you rise into the realms of light and union with the deity or something like that. That's not what happens.
It's different. I remember one very epic trip I had where I had tossed out a big compost pile from growing mushrooms years ago in another country. Actually, it was a past life, I'm now recalling. But anyway, I tossed out this stuff, and this thing grew, this humongous mushroom. And I had taken mushrooms the previous Saturday. I had taken a full dose, which is 5 dried grams. So I thought, I want to take mushrooms again this Saturday, but I think I may have picked up a tolerance. So I'll just take 9 grams instead. And this is where the learning takes place. The mistakes. Treasure your mistakes. So the thing, it's like I'm sitting there and suddenly I realize, oh my God, it's coming at me. It's 100 miles wide. It's 10 miles high. And it's just rolling toward me. It looks, and I barely had time to lay down. That's how fast. I said, and a voice said, prepare, the storm is about to hit the beach. And I laid down, and it was like a tornado hitting. And at one point I opened my eyes, and there was this woman in a full bondage getup with piercings and rubber panties and the whole thing. And I was lying there between her legs. She was standing upright, and she put her face right down next to mine, and she said, "Is it strong enough for you, asshole?" To which I replied, yes. And then she said, they say it helps to close your eyes, cowboy. And I later, in thinking about that trip, I realized the reason the mushroom addressed me as cowboy is because most people mushrooms have met have been cowboys and cowgirls, because they're the people who follow the cows. And most people have encountered this thing in the pasture. You know, Maria Sabina, the mushroom shamaness of Oaxaca,